Hello, and welcome to the MegaCast by Actual Tech Media. Our topic today, SecOps, discovering critical capabilities in leading SSE, SIEM, and SOAR tools. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I am a fan of alliteration, so I am digging the SecOps, SSE, SIEM, and SOAR. Not only do we have a fun literary game today, but we also have a whole host of experts, evangelists, expressing eloquently. Not bad, I think. Okay, first alliteration of the day. We'll see if I get better as we go. If you have any other good ones, throw them in the chat for me. Let's get to the good stuff, because today you will be hearing from the top tech talent. Yeah, okay, I couldn't resist one more. At Rapid7, Access Security, and Palo Alto. These experts have joined us to make sure that you are up to speed on the best tools to keep your organization safe in 2022. Now, if you have not joined us for a MegaCast in the past, a very special welcome to you. Actual Tech Media created the MegaCast and EcoCast series to help educate technology professionals like yourself on the latest innovations and trends in enterprise technology. Now, we all know how fast things move in our world, so these events are designed to get you the hottest insights and up-to-date information efficiently from the comfort of your home or office. MegaCast and EcoCast allow you to pose and answer questions, to connect with other experts in your field, and to help you solve your most pressing technology challenges. Now, before we get into our exciting sessions, we do have a few housekeeping things to go over. Of course, we do have some of those awesome prizes lined up for you, and I'm going to come back to those in just a moment. But first, I want to draw your attention to the questions box in your webinar control panel. If you haven't already said hi, we love seeing all you awesome folks connecting from around the world. I saw some questions about what people are having for lunch. You know, lots of important topics coming up. So please do make sure that you connect with the Actual Tech Media community there. But we also want this to be an informative event for you, which means that we want to see all of those technical questions. So throughout today's MegaCast, we hope that you'll get engaged and make sure to ask all the questions you have about those best security strategies and tools for you and your organization. Not only will we have team members responding to you during the live event, we'll also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of each presentation. If we do not get to your question during the live event, don't worry. The awesome humans from Rapid7, Access Security, and Palo Alto will be following up with you afterwards. Now, we all know that good things should be shared, so when you hear something interesting or exciting in today's MegaCast, be sure to share it with your friends. You can use the Twitter button right there in your audience console, and the hashtag for today's event will automatically be added to your post. And hey, while you're exploring that audience console, I think it's a great time to check out that Handouts tab, where you will find some fantastic resources and takeaways from our speakers here today. You're going to find some feature comparisons and assessments, technical overviews, solution briefs, and more. So be sure to click around and explore there. Now, my name is Jess. I'm with Actual Tech Media, and I'm so happy to be one of your moderators for this special event today. My wonderful fellow moderators, David Davis and Scott Becker, who I'm sure you all know, will be helping answer some questions on live chat, and will be joining us a little bit later on as well. Now, in keeping with our alliterative theme today, we have a preposterously perfect powerhouse pack of prizes for you today. Our grand prize giveaway is 5 Apple M1 24-inch iMacs that we'll be giving away to 5 lucky winners here in attendance at the event today. And that's not even including the $500 Amazon gift cards that we'll be giving away every 30 minutes. Of course, again, you must be in attendance during the live event to qualify for the prizes, and all winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. If you are not sure what those are, you can find those in that handy-dandy Handouts tab that I mentioned earlier. Full T's and C's down there at the bottom. Just click in and scroll down. Now, as we mentioned earlier, that question section right next to the Handouts tab we were just chatting about is great for posting feedback, also any technical issues that might come up today. A quick reminder that a refresh will probably fix a lot of those. And it's also a great place to post any of your own alliterative creations if you're feeling creative today. And on top of that, and most importantly, we absolutely love hearing those insightful questions. In fact, we love it so much that we have a special additional prize for all you curious folks out there. In today's MegaCast, we will be giving away a $50 Amazon gift card to the best question app. That's in each of our sessions. So the teams will review all of those questions after the event, which means that, again, if your question does not get read out in the live session, there is still a chance that you will win that. We are going to follow up with all of the winners after the event. And again, if you have questions about whether or not you're eligible to win those prizes today, check out the terms and conditions. There's a few reminders on the screen here, including the fact that all grand prize winners are required to submit an IRS Form W-9 to Actual Tech Media. And hey, if you are a lucky winner here today, you always have the option to donate the value of the prize to one of our selected charities. Thanks to generous prize winners on previous Actual Tech Media events, thousands of dollars have been donated to these wonderful charities. So if you are a winner today and you'd like to get involved with one of these amazing organizations, let us know. We would love to help make that happen. Again, we are so happy to have you here at the live event today, and we want to keep that good feeling going. So use that Twitter button that we chatted about earlier that will add the hashtag for today's event and help you share all the exciting things that you are learning. Make sure to connect with Actual Tech Media on Twitter and Facebook. We very much want to hear from you. And if you're looking for more content after this event, check Actual Tech Media out on YouTube. You can actually click on that YouTube icon right in the center of the screen on the slide there and go check out some of the previous content. But, you know, don't start the videos now. We'll save them for later because we want you here with us. So that's for your future self to enjoy. Speaking of some exciting content, please do take a look at our LinkedIn page. Lots of great things there. And if you haven't already checked out the Actual Tech Media Guerrilla Guide Book Club, now is the time. The Guerrilla Guide Book Club gives you access to free enterprise IT books authored by top industry experts, so you can stay up to date on trending enterprise technology. And yes, these books will work on your Kindle or mobile device, and they are all completely free. You can download these awesome resources at GuerrillaGuide.com, and there's a link in the Handouts tab for you as well. Now, we think that everyone here is pretty cool. We think you probably have some cool friends. We want to get to know them. So another fun way to win a prize is to refer an industry friend or coworker to the Actual Tech Media event series. Now, you're going to find a link to do that, again, in that Handouts tab. And you will be automatically redirected at the end of the event as well. Now, we promise not to spam your friends and coworkers. I know that's always a concern. We will send them an invite to a list of upcoming events. As you know, they're awesome and exciting events, so your friend will automatically love you for that. If they don't respond, they will only get one more reminder from us. And then both you and your coworker could win a $300 Amazon gift card. We hold those drawings every month, so be sure to refer a friend. It could quite literally be a win-win situation for you. Okay, that's a lot of stuff. And at last, it's time for us to get to this massively marvelous MegaCast. There's no wordplay or literary gaming needed to introduce our keynote speaker today because you all already know the wonderful Scott Becker. My fellow moderator is going to set the stage for our MegaCast by reviewing all the awesome and amazing alliterative acronyms we're here to talk about today. Scott, over to you, my friend.
Thanks, Jess, and thanks everyone for joining us on the SecOps MegaCast. You're going to hear a lot of acronyms over the next couple of hours. What I'd like to do here briefly is talk about some of the big terms, where they come from, what they mean, and why they matter. The first one in our title is SSE. This is a hot one. The marketing analysts at Gartner just invented this term last August, and for something that's only been around for about 9 months, it's a big deal. So what it stands for is Security Service Edge. So what is that? The definition is this, and I'll read it straight from Gartner because it's their term. So Security Service Edge secures access to the web, cloud services, and private applications. Capabilities include access control, threat protection, data security, security monitoring, and acceptable use control enforced by network-based and API-based integration. Wow, so that's a lot to unpack. Let's look at it in a couple of different ways. Architecturally, it's a few things. It's a cloud-based service. The components need to be tightly integrated. It may include on-premises components, meaning some items in your data center. And it may have agent-based components, meaning items on your user's computer. Why does it matter? Well, we've all moved out of the office and our data has moved out of the data center, and securing that environment without a traditional network perimeter is a challenge. A lot of the old tools only help with that data center environment, and a lot of our security ideas like routing all of the network traffic through a VPN to the data center, then to the cloud applications, those don't scale very well, and they don't account for things like unsanctioned devices and unsanctioned applications. So what does SSE include? A couple of things. You can think of SSE as always including cloud access security brokers or CASB, secure web gateway or SWG, and zero trust network access. SSE can also sometimes include a few other things. One of those is firewall as a service. Another is remote browser isolation. Then there's user and entity behavior analytics. There's cloud security posture management. And then it can also include digital experience monitoring, or DEM, for times when all those cloud-based remote users are wondering why their application performance is so bad and whether the organizational security policies are the things that are slowing them down. So yeah, it's a lot of functionality for one umbrella acronym. SSE is really something to pay attention to, and today's sessions are going to be a great place to start. Now, that's only one of the three acronyms that we're covering today. We've got two more. We've got SOAR and we've got SIEM. So these phrases are more mature and they're probably pretty familiar to a lot of you. SIEM is a really old one when it comes to technology terms. I mean, Gartner coined this term all the way back in 2005. It's a combination of two types of tools. There's security information management tools on the one hand, and security event management tools on the other. Put them together and you have, of course, security information and event management, or SIEM or SIEM. So SIEM is really all about collecting security information, about being in command of all of your systems, about knowing what's happening at all times, about logging it, and about being able to analyze it. That's important stuff and critical for all types of important processes in the security world. SIEM systems collect data, they identify deviations, they rank threats, and they generate alerts for security analysts about potential events. Now, the big improvement on SIEM comes with two parallel developments. One is the explosion of artificial intelligence and machine learning over the last few years, and the other is the growing appetite for automation and for orchestration. So in about 2015, we have the emergence of SOAR, which started out as one set of words that added up to the SOAR acronym, and then evolved into another set of words with the same result. And I'll just stick to the later component words to avoid confusing the issue. Look up the original words if you're curious. But since 2017, SOAR has stood for security, orchestration, automation, response. SOAR systems also handle a lot of the tasks that a SIEM performs, but they have other capabilities too, where SIEM systems only alert security analysts of a potential event. SOAR platforms use automation, AI, and machine learning to provide greater context and automated responses to those threats. It's all about collecting all of the information, but then turning it around and having systems that act automatically on that information. So SOAR platforms integrate with a wider range of internal and external applications, and both security and non-security applications. And rather than sending out alerts, it's potentially shutting down attacks, or at least teeing up analysts to shut down those attacks as quickly as possible. So there's a lot of convergence between SIEM and SOAR, and as quickly as you define the differences in this fast-moving space, the tools borrow and improve upon each other's functionality. So we'll hear about some of those innovations today. Those are the big three acronyms for the next few hours: SSE, SIEM, and SOAR. Hopefully this has helped clarify what all the buzz is about around SSE, and I hope it's provided a little bit of a refresher on SIEM and SOAR for you as well. So Jess, I'll turn things back over to you to introduce some of our deep subject matter experts for the rest of the MegaCast.
Well, thanks for that, Scott. What a great way to kick off our MegaCast. You know, there's always so many new tools, platforms, and strategies it's really helpful sometimes to pause and just make sure we're all on the same page before we take that deep dive in together. And as Alex Bernstein just said in our chat, amazing acronyms are always awesome. Gold star, Alex, way to go. Scott's going to be sticking around behind the scenes if you do have any further questions, so get those in the Q&A chat. While you're doing that, you can see that we have a poll question up for you all. We want to know, what is your time frame for adding new or updating existing IT solutions in your company? So what this really means is, what's your time frame for taking action on some of the SSE, SIM, and SOAR tools, SIM and SOAR tools and strategies that you will be learning about today. So if you want to fill that out, looks like we've got some good answers coming in. Great. Okay, thank you to everyone who answered the poll. This is very, very helpful, but we are going to move it along now, because it is my pleasure to introduce our very first presenter in today's MegaCast. We have Margaret Way, Product Marketing Manager for Detection and Response at Rapid7. She's here to talk to us about InsightIDR. Margaret, thank you for being here with us today. The platform is all yours.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining. So today we're going to be talking about InsightIDR, which is Rapid7's cloud SIEM and extended detection and response solution. So to start with an introduction, I'm Margaret Way. I'm a product marketing manager for detection and response at Rapid7. So I work really closely with our product, sales, and other teams internally here at Rapid7 to determine a go-to-market strategy that's really centered around customer needs and goals and how we can best support these with our products and services. So before we jump into talking about InsightIDR, I just wanted to quickly highlight our Rapid7 Insight platform. So with our various security solutions, we're able to deliver visibility, analytics, and automation to simplify the complex and really help security teams reduce their vulnerabilities, monitor for malicious behavior, and automate routine tasks. So again, for today, we'll be focusing on InsightIDR, which is our cloud SIEM and extended detection and response solution. So getting into things here, as security professionals, I'm sure you are all too well aware of this, but just to give some context to kick us off here. So here at Rapid7, we hear these four main themes again and again from security professionals, and they all lead up to the main issue of the scales being tipped in the attacker's favor. So the first one is that digital transformation is driving a constant state of security change that's really impossible to keep up with. And then as teams continue to work from remote locations everywhere, the attack surface continues to sprawl exponentially. And this sprawl of applications and new entry points to the organization just continues to create this significant flood of data for teams to keep track of. And then lastly, to really add insult to injury, the security industry continues to face a widening skills and resource gap, putting teams at a greater disadvantage. So regardless of the maturity of your organization, no team has enough time to do it all. Teams are forced to make trade-offs, and this really gives attackers the edge. So all of this makes it pretty impossible to find what really matters through all of the noise. So some stats here, half of teams are overwhelmed by the volume of alerts that they receive. 40% are left unable to look at or act upon a quarter of the alerts that are coming in. Teams are adopting more security solutions to keep up with all of this and their sprawling environments, but ultimately they can't even use a good portion of what they have. So many tools don't provide the necessary context or the actionable information, so they end up just really sitting on a shelf while the noise around teams just continues to get louder. So Alternative approaches and, these kind of more traditional ones are actually adding to the complexity that teams are dealing with. So that's, long deployments, configurations, and onboarding cycles that take teams away from actual detection and response. Secondly, there are just too many disconnected systems that leave teams really context switching all day. Or there's some, XDR players that promise to bring all of this data together, but they actually just bring all the noise to one place. So that approach doesn't really scale. And then there's just a lack of an ability to streamline response, which again, really kind of gives attackers more time to carry out their missions uninterrupted. So a question that we find ourselves asking in the face of this is, what if it could be different? So to be successful in the battle against cyber threats, security teams really need more efficiency and a path through the noise. So, what if you didn't have 20 tools to manage your detection and response? What if every member of your team, even newer folks, could be as effective as the strongest, most tenured members of your team? What if you could cut the overwhelming false positives? And what if you could cut your time to respond in more than half while you're at it? So the right detection and response approach can really help here. So an extended detection and response approach can help you get a more holistic view of your environment and enable your team to work more efficiently. And then a strong XDR program really unifies and transforms relevant security data from across your modern environment to tie together, disconnected data, detect real attacks early in the attack chain, and provide security teams with high context, really actionable insights and automations that you can extinguish threats very quickly. But with that being said, not all XDR is created equal. So we see a lot of players that are still focused on one or a small number of event sources, and they really kind of put it on the customer to figure out the rest. And this doesn't really feel like XDR to us here at Rapid7. This just kind of feels a lot like the same old, traditional approach with a new label on it. So you need connectivity and a way to zero in on what actually matters and how it's all connected. So when we started in the detection and response game over 6 years ago, we wanted to do things differently. Traditional approaches didn't need, more work. They didn't really need to be tweaked. We wanted to give teams a new, simple way to see their entire environment. So of course that means endpoints, but not just endpoints. We're talking network, user, cloud, and logs too. And then rather than just dumping it into one place for security analysts to deal with, we wanted to transform it into something really harmonious and actionable for teams to help them save time and really win against all of these developing and ongoing cyber attacks. So we believe that you can have a super successful security program and still make it home for dinner. And our XDR approach is proof of that. So InsightIDR cuts the noise and distractions and really gives teams the scale, comprehensive coverage, vetted detections, and context and automation to accelerate detection and response. So on this slide, these are the 4 guiding principles of InsightIDR, which enable customers to continually level up their security operations and focus on what matters most. So I'm going to dig into each of these a little bit more depth later on, but just kind of high level for now to go through them. So first, InsightIDR was purpose-built to simplify SecOps while still having sophisticated security and elevated outcomes. So it's intuitive interface, flexible search modes, and wizard guides throughout the product really empower every analyst to be an expert. Secondly, We know digital transformation is a top priority for almost every organization, and we want to empower teams to keep up with cloud scale and coverage across their modern environment. Next, one of the biggest differentiators for InsightIDR is the trusted detections that we're able to deliver out of the box. So right away, teams are able to leverage our library of highly manicured, up-to-date detections that are vetted by our own managed detection and response team. And then finally, we provide the high context investigations and automation to help teams accelerate incident response and stay ahead of attackers. So in an attack, every second counts, and when resources are scarce, there's absolutely no time to waste. So InsightIDR accelerates the security maturity journey, really unlocking necessary efficiency multipliers to give teams time back, ensure that they find real threats faster, and that they can respond quickly and completely. So from our customer research, we've seen that we're able to consistently and tangibly deliver these following results to customers. So we are one of, if not the fastest tools to deploy on the market. This is a consistent theme across our customer reviews. It's not uncommon for customers to be up and running in as little as half a day at times. So this translates to about 4.7 times faster than previous solutions teams were using. And then our out-of-the-box detections and broad environment coverage really accelerate the mean time to detect, and high context investigations and automation drive accelerated mean time to respond. So this is a tangible benefit for teams as they're seeing 73% earlier mean time to detect and 71% faster mean time to respond with InsightIDR. And then customers also report greater visibility and significant efficiency gains as we're able to help level up all team members and really, stop the complexity. So for our customers, this looks like a 78% increase in visibility across their distributed environments and a 64% increase in efficiency and time back. And the result is, really more time to focus on innovation and new projects as opposed to the weeds of those kind of, day-to-day ongoing operations all the time. So now let's dive into those 4 key pillars from the last slide that enable us to deliver these results. So first one here, from day one, login and data ingestion through alert triage and incident response. InsightIDR was purpose-built to eliminate the operational hurdles that often bog teams down and really distract from security work. So through lightweight SaaS delivery and software-based collectors, we really are able to accelerate time to value and ensure that teams can focus on detections and not deployments. So again, like I mentioned before, we have this intuitive interface, these, flexible search modes, those wizard guides to really empower analysts. So you're able to get insights faster, and everyone on your team can really be an expert from the start. The second one here is based on a recognition, that the environments and attack surface that security professionals are monitoring is, again, dynamic and ever-changing, like we said before. So InsightIDR's cloud-native SaaS foundation really ensures that teams have the scale, the agility, and the compute power to keep up. So regardless of how their environment changes, InsightIDR, includes native UEBA, EDR, NTA, cloud detections, deception technology, and automation out of the box. So teams have continuous visibility and detection coverage as their environments grow, so that, again, they can really find and anticipate threats early in that attack chain. Next, like I mentioned earlier, our out-of-the-box detections library is really one of those biggest differentiators for us with InsightIDR. So this leverages insights and intelligence from our open source community research projects, our, again, MDR and service engagements, and external threat intelligence. So we have this really unique perspective of the attack surface from all of that. This, combined with our knowledge of customer environments, really enables us to deliver a very high fidelity library of detections out of the gate, and there's no configuration required by customers. So to take it one step further, this library is also shared with our MDR SOC team, so it's expertly vetted in the field to really ensure that these detections are actionable and up to date for customers. And finally, in the race against an attack, like, I think we said this before, but every second matters, and InsightIDR accelerates incident response by eliminating context switching, ensuring customers have high context and highly correlated alerts and investigation details that can blend the relevant data from across different event sources into a single coherent picture. So with embedded automation workflows, customers have the right info and the ability to make real-time decisions and, again, extinguish threats immediately. So now taking a closer look at the architecture of InsightIDR and kind of what this all looks like. So working from left to right here, InsightIDR makes it easy to collect, correlate, and analyze diverse telemetry from across your environment, including endpoint, cloud, applications, logs, network users, all that critical information that's brought together with our lightweight software-based collection technology. So our Insight agent, sensor, collectors, and APIs. So it's all collected and efficiently processed in the Insight platform, driving that necessary scale to really keep up with your modern environment. And then our threat intelligence team, it analyzes this data against our rules and detections library that we were talking about. So again, leveraging that community-infused threat intelligence and the contextualized external telemetry to provide a super reliable and actionable set of detections that you can trust. And again, that's vetted by our MDR SOC team in the field. Our attribution tracks users and assets as they move around the network and auto-enriches every log line with user and asset details. So when an event fires, you have the complete picture of everything that happened and all the relevant telemetry and information in one place. And then on the right side here, you can see how we leverage this data across all of these different areas. So spanning embedded intelligence, attacker and user behavior analytics, EDR, NTA, search and high context investigations, and of course, containment and SOAR, all from a single console, meaning less context switching and more efficiency for your team. So that's all that we had for you all today. Thank you so much for joining. Happy to take some questions now. So can see a few here that I will answer for you guys. So one of the questions is, how long does it take to get up and running with InsightIDR? So like I mentioned, it's not uncommon for customers to be up and running, potentially within a few hours or, half a day with InsightIDR. So again, it's our really lightweight collection methods, really easy for teams to deploy and get set up super quickly, and really getting that data into the platform. Another one is InsightIDR Rapid7's only detection and response solution. So InsightIDR is the flagship of the detection and response portion of the Insight platform. So that wheel from the slide earlier that I had showed is just really a piece of the overall Insight platform. But then, specifically looking at detection and response, it's definitely the flagship of the solutions that we have there, but our detection and response kind of portfolio also includes our Rapid7 managed detection and response team. So our global 24/7 SOC experts, threat command, so our external attack surface monitoring and threat intelligence solution, and then Insight Connect, which is Rapid7's SOAR solution. So customers can, definitely use these products individually or in any combination. We really do frequently see customers, opting to employ multiple pieces of the detection and response portfolio together to really maximize efficiency, improve that signal to noise, expand their attack surface coverage, and just accelerate key metrics and processes for teams. But with that being said, many customers, choose just to leverage InsightIDR and really do see a significant positive impact on their threat detection and response from that. Let's see. Another question, you mentioned how InsightIDR cuts down on noisy alerts. Can you explain how that works? For sure. So we prioritize alerts as either critical, high, medium, or low. So you as a customer also have the ability to change the alert priority yourself based on your own environment. So, if something's not quite the right level for you, you can tweak that. You can make it critical if it's coming through as high or medium, but for you guys, it's something you really want flagged, or, you can lower it as well. Just, totally depends on you. And you can also add exceptions to existing alerts out of the box, both during an investigation or proactively. And, all of this really does help reduce noise and make sure that you're being alerted on what matters the most to you and your specific environment.
So I think that's all the time that we have for questions right now. Thank you so much again for joining. We really appreciate it. And hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Margaret, for that awesome presentation and for taking the time to answer some of the audience questions. What a great way to start out our MegaCast today. And hey, bonus points to Margaret for throwing in her own alliteration. Super successful security strategies. Love that. You can see that I put up a poll question for you all. We would love to get your feedback on any additional resources that you would like to explore from Rapid7. So make sure to check out that poll and share your thoughts with us. Now, we still have lots of insightful questions coming in, which is so exciting, and the Rapid7 team will be following up, so do keep those coming in. I'd also like to remind you all about the Handouts tab in your audience console. There is a detailed assessment and feature comparison that you can check out there from Rapid7. I'm just going to leave this poll up for another moment here because it is time for our very first prize giveaway. So first up, we have a $500 Amazon gift card, and then we're going to give away one of those grand prizes, which, as a reminder, if you forgot, is that awesome Apple M1 24-inch iMac to give away. You do get to choose the color, guys, so get excited about that. Okay, our very first winner of the $500 Amazon gift card today is Zhang Feng from Texas. Zhang Feng from Texas. All right, congrats. And our very first winner of the grand prize, Apple M1 24 iMac color of your choice, is Andrew Field from Ohio. So congratulations to Zhang and to Andrew. As always, we will be in touch about claiming your prize after the event. And don't forget that there are still lots more chances to win a prize today, plus that best question gift card from each session. So do keep those questions coming in. But right now, I'm just going to jump us on forward. So hopefully you got that poll question answered. And we are going to introduce our next speaker, Jay Tilson, Director of Strategy at Access Security. Jay, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem at all. Thank you. Hello, everyone. So my name is Jay Tilson, and I'm Director of Strategy at Access. I actually only recently joined Access after spending 25 years in the corporate world. I worked for multiple enterprise companies where I worked on some pretty large global transformation projects. I looked after pretty much everything that had a wire connected to it, ranging from switches, routers, firewalls, phone systems, virtual platforms, storage, backup, all the kind of infrastructure stuff we all know and love. I guess some of the major projects I worked on included things such as implementing of global networks, first MPLS networks, and then moving on to SD-WAN, and then did stuff like global email migrations, first using Microsoft Exchange on-prem and then out to 365. Global Wi-Fi solutions, things like global communication tools with Microsoft Teams, but also did stuff like opening and closing offices, relocating sites, investment projects, anything really to do with M&A, ranging from due diligence to integration planning, budgeting for integrations, and I guess more recently, the exciting thing for me was I got to design and implement elements of the Zero Trust, such as ZTNA, SWG, CASB, and DLP. I joined Access really because I'm really passionate about SSE and Zero Trust, and I believe it's really the next step in the IT evolution. I mean, there's not many things come along in the IT world that make you go, wow, but I think with the way the world has changed, I think Zero Trust and SSE is pretty critical for everyone, and I was hoping to use the experience I just talked about to help other companies with their transformational journeys. So today I wanted to talk about harmonizing secure access with SSE. As I said, I'm relatively new to access security, but we recently announced our Atmos product, and I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of the vision of access and where we are and why we're doing the things we're doing. The modern workplace is an orchestra composed of users, devices, applications, and clouds, and each playing their own tune and constantly syncing and changing. This orchestra is really difficult to secure, challenging to see, extremely complex, and extends now far beyond the confines of the standard corporate network. It requires a solution designed to harmonize workplace connectivity. I think we can all agree that over the last 2 years, the world has really changed. There's been a mega shift like nothing we've seen before in the world of IT. Sorry, I'm lost track of my slides. I'm back. So yes, there's been a mega shift in regards to the world of IT. Applications and users have moved outside of the corporate network, and cyber criminals have used this to their advantage. There's been a huge increase in cyber attacks, ranging from things like ransomware and all kinds of other cyber attacks. There's in fact been a 500% increase in ransomware attacks. And all of this has led to people craving more visibility, trying to understand what's going on. Users have been moved outside the network, as I said, and previously we used to have visibility on our networks that we no longer have. So over the last 2 years, the amount of data has grown by 100%. I mean, that's a large number. And it's no longer data that's all on-prem, and the users are no longer on-prem. All the data now flows over the internet, and the users are located outside of the corporate network. The biggest question we're being asked is, does it make sense to continue to invest in legacy technologies such as firewalls, VPN, VDI, MPLS, at branch offices where there are no longer users or data? In this cloud world where networks are now managed by cloud providers and not your standard IT teams, network security is just not as effective as it was. Most users are now working outside of the corporate boundary, and that's just going to increase over time. So in reality, rethinking access does make the most sense. So Gartner termed the key SASE, or created a framework, SASE, not long ago. But during the pandemic, they changed and came up with kind of a new framework. More and more users are now outside of the corporate network. And Gartner realized that this was going to be the new way of working, and it was likely here to stay. So with this in mind, they decided to split their SASE framework into two different segments. Firstly, they split out the WAN edge service part, the network, and the other part was SSE, Security Services Edge. The WAN element contains things such as SD-WAN, WAN optimization, anything to do with those kind of network tools that we talk about. While the SSE stack includes some core elements such as Secure Web Gateway, CASB, ZTNA. In a world where users are no longer tied to the office and they're working from anywhere that has an internet connection, it was viewed that SD-WAN maybe wasn't as important as it was, and things like ZTNA in the pandemic were critical. So Access wants to help you enable this new work atmosphere. Using a cloud-delivered architecture, you can securely connect employees and third parties to business applications. You'll be able to elevate the level of visibility so your IT team can see exactly what users are accessing, and you can even monitor performance to ensure users get the best possible experience. So how is this done? You accomplish this by firstly mediating all connections. This is the critical key to zero trust. Then automatically, you validate access based on policy and context, such as the user's identity, device posture, specific applications, or even the user's location. And lastly, and this is pretty key, you broker an outbound connection, no inbound connections any longer, outbound connection between a specific resource and an authorized user, and not the network, while inspecting traffic and continuously authorizing the activities throughout this session. This is what we are calling Atmos by Access. Sorry. So Atmos is designed to make life easier for everyone. It has all the core SSE functions built into a single harmonized platform with levels of visibility that no other SSE platform has. The Atmos platform is characterized by three key differentiators. The first one being super simple, the second one being super smart, and the third one being super secure. We believe these are key differentiators in the market. Super simple, with minimized complexity is the aim. The platform helps you direct the orchestra of users and apps from a single pane of glass. Atmos is a 100% cloud-based system running on the backbone of services like AWS Global Accelerator, and its aim is to lighten the management burden for IT. A single UI gives access to all elements of the SSE stack, ranging from ZTNA, CASB, DLP, Secure Web Gateway, as well as digital experience. The elegant policy tagging system allows for easy use within minutes, and it's very easy to set up and configure. We offer both an agent and agentless access, meaning that we cater for use cases such as third parties, where installing an agent can be difficult. I think we'll all be familiar with trying to allow third parties in and trying to either send an agent out to a third party, or having to discuss with a third-party security team about installing an agent, or installing an agent where it would conflict with their other VPN technology or other things on their computers. And many companies, instead of actually configuring an agent or sending an agent, would actually package up hardware with agents on and send the hardware, and therefore this creates significant cost. With the agentless approach, this is much easier. People can get access into standard applications using standard protocols, but without an agent. The next key differentiator is super smart. Thinking smarter is just cooler. The platform allows you to auto-sync with the environment through a cybersecurity mesh of IDP and endpoint services to auto-tune policies and fluently adapt access rights. You'll be able to react much faster to user experience issues. And everything, as I said before, is configured in one simple, easy-to-use policy. So next is super secure. It makes security omnipresent. The platform ensures there is zero attack surface, and it has the ability to determine, log, and visualize file downloads and other commands used by users. It's very simple to log into the system and see what people are doing or have done. And that will help give much better visibility and control, which will help reduce lateral movement. Regardless of how and where users are working, It helps you inspect traffic to elevate visibility and prevent ransomware. We believe visibility is critical, and it's something that's embedded deeply in the platform. The platform artfully and cleverly protects against ransomware attacks, which I previously mentioned have increased significantly since the pandemic, and since the corporate user base is now spread across the internet and not defined and located in corporate sites. It does this by firstly reducing the attack surface, preventing applications from being discovered by placing them behind the access cloud. And it also offers inline content inspection for visibility of user activities to aid threat detection and response. Secondly, it also reduces lateral movement by securely connecting only authorized users to specific applications without putting them on the network. And this is key to zero trust, user to application. It also enables least privilege server-to-server communication to protect lateral flow even further. Lastly, by having inline policy-based controls to disable download, copy and paste, etc., and having visibility of user activity, it really helps to reduce data loss. As you can see, together all of these things significantly protect against ransomware. So, Atmos in action. I'm sure you all want to see how this is going to work. There are 5 key steps in the process. The user requests access to an application. This application can be on-prem, can be cloud, can be anywhere the user needs to get access. Access will then mediate the connection. This is a key element to zero trust, as I said before. There are no pass-through connections allowed. The next step is to verify identity and then validate access based on policy and context, such as user identity, device health, application type, or even a user's location. The service then brokers an outbound connection, as I said before, between a specific resource and the user. It does not allow network access. It's only from the specific user to the specific application, whether that be on-prem or in the cloud. Access then inspects traffic throughout the session. It will sever a connection if an IP address changes, or a user is moved from an IDP, or a depositor fails, or if a user moves outside of an allowed area. So with access, users are never placed on the network. The customer's infrastructure is never exposed to the internet. And application segmentation replaces network segmentation. So, Access decided when it created this environment that it would concentrate on its core competencies. It would provide fast, seamless, secure access to business resources. And for other critical systems like IDP and SIEM, it would partner with its key ecosystem partners. So for identity, we partner with Okta, Microsoft, Ping, and any other identity provider. For endpoint security, we currently partner with CrowdStrike. And for SIEM tools, we partner with Splunk. We will grow these partnerships as the product grows, and we hope to add more in the future. So, some feedback from our customers and from people we've been working with. As you can see, our customers are extremely happy with our approach. They like what we are offering. Feedback is that our solution is faster to install, configure, and manage, and it's simpler to use. The users love it, as well as the IT teams. The IT teams like the ease of use, the tagging system that we have, the fact that it's easy to deploy, it's got a single user interface, and the agentless access has been a real hit. So that's it from me today. We hope you can work in harmony in the future, and I'd like to open up for any questions.
Thank you, Jay. What an awesome presentation. I love the metaphor about the workplace as an orchestra. That's very evocative. I'm thinking... Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
Sorry, go on. No, I was just going to say harmony is all about orchestra, right? We want everyone to work in harmony, and that's what an orchestra does. If you hear certain elements of an orchestra on their own, maybe they don't sound so great, but when everything comes together, it's a fantastic thing to listen to.
I love that reminder, and every piece is just as important as the piece next to it, and working in concert. Wonderful. Well, on that beautiful note, let's jump into some well-orchestrated question time. We've got a poll up there for you. So before we jump into the live Q&A, I do want to give all of you a chance to fill that out. Let us know what additional information you would like to get about access security. So if you take a minute to fill that out, that feedback is absolutely vital. And in the meantime, Jay and I are going to jump into some of these questions. Ready to dive in with me, Jay?
I am indeed. Thank you.
Okay. So this one here, I see that Atmos integrates with SIEM providers, but does it provide insights within the platform itself?
Yes, it does. I mean, that was pretty critical in the design of the platform. IT teams have very granular visibility into who is accessing what within the business resources, at what time, from which device, and even what they did on the session. I alluded to in the presentation that there's very high visibility. So we can actually see commands that have been used, what applications have been opened, and there's kind of like a playbook. As well as that, obviously, we have Splunk integration, so you can get very, very good information from that as well.
We have a question here. Are there application types that Access doesn't support?
No, Atmos is really the only zero trust service that can support all ports and protocols, even VoIP, which is something that in the industry is very hard to come by, as well as RDP via agentless and web browsing. So in addition to other private and SaaS applications as well.
Okay. How about based on the Gartner SSE framework, there are quite a few products that are consolidated into one. So does this impact speed in which you ramp up a platform like this?
The goal of SSE is to make access more simple, smart, and secure. So while SSE provides a wide breadth of ability, teams also have the flexibility to start where they have the greatest need. So, for example, many businesses that adopt SSE have started with ZTNA. VPN replacement is something that's been on everyone's minds, I think, since the pandemic. There were a lot of solutions out there that couldn't cope with the fact that a lot of people got sent home. Those legacy tools were either difficult to configure or difficult to upgrade or were costly, and they would put people straight on the network. They didn't reduce attack surface. They gave people access rather than from a user specifically to an application. They kind of dumped people straight on the network. So that's something that people can start with. They can start with ZTNA before they move on to things like Secure Web Gateway and CASB and DLP. But the power of Atmos is you can bite off the bits you want and deliver the bits you want when you want. But when you add those features on, they will all be in the same policy controlled system. They'll all be in the same platform. Visibility is across all the platform. So you can grow as you need, depending on what the need is.
That's nice, that kind of customization there. And in terms of getting started, and I'm going to ask you what next steps people can take in just a moment here, but timelines and sort of internal help and training? You know, how much can they rely on access security for that?
Yeah, I mean, we will help people. So there's a group of people within Access, such as myself, that are open to have discussions about your transformational journey. We'd like to be seen as trusted advisors, so people can reach out to us and have open and honest conversations. We also run the SSE forum, where we invite people onto the forum to have conversations with us. We record podcasts as well as part of that for people to listen to. So we're open to that as a kind of an aid in transformational journeys. And then actually we will do demos of the product and talk through like the SSE journey and help people decide where they can start and what the value is from each part of the product and how it can help their businesses. And then we will handhold people through that process, so we can do proof of values where we can realize that value and help people. And then obviously we move on to then deployment, and we can hold hands there. We obviously have a support organization that helps with that, with different levels that are offered as part of that support. We've got a website, obviously, that with documentation, and we've got training that we publish that people look at. But if anyone's open and wants a conversation, they can either look up the SSE forum, or they can ping me an email, jtilson@access.security.com, or they can look me up on LinkedIn. They can reach out, and we can start those conversations.
Well, that's perfect. Yeah, the last thing I was going to ask you was how people get started, and you've answered all of that. So I think that's some great ways for people to kind of jump in. We are running a little bit short on time, so I am going to have to wrap up the Q&A there. But Jay and his crew are going to hang out and answer some questions over live chat. So if you do have questions that didn't get addressed, please do keep those coming in, and the Access Security team will follow up with you. Jay, thank you so much for being here for this wonderful chat today.
No problem at all, and thank you for the invitation.
My pleasure. And thanks to everyone who did take the time to fill out the poll or submit a question. If you are looking for some more information right away, I do recommend clicking on that Handouts tab. Just a reminder, there's some great content in there, and there's some information on the Atmos SSE platform, lots and lots of good info, so do check that out. Now, luckily, it is time, you guessed it, for another prize giveaway. So we have a $500 Amazon gift card plus another one of those grand prizes. And guys, I may just get a little crazy here and give 2 grand prizes away this time. So hang on to your hats. Our next lucky winner of a $500 Amazon gift card today is Sarah Redman of Indiana. Sarah Redman, you have won a $500 Amazon gift card today. And our super lucky grand prize winner of an Apple M1 24-inch iMac is Tim Rolston of Arizona. So not only do you get to live in sunny Arizona, you also now have an Apple M1 24-inch iMac, Tim Rolston. And like I said, feeling a bit crazy, I'm going to go ahead and give away another grand prize. So another Apple M1 24-inch iMac is going to Chad Elliott of Massachusetts. So congratulations to Sarah, to Tim, and to Chad. You guys have all won some awesome stuff today. We will be in touch about claiming your prize after the event. And don't forget, there is still an option to win that $50 gift card in each session. So make sure those questions come in. Even if we do not read your question out loud, you are still entered to win for the best question, and that's a $50 Amazon gift card. Okay, now, guys, this always comes up a little faster than I think it will. We have already reached the very last presentation within our MegaCast today. But boy, do we have a grand finale for you all. For our last session of the day, we are so happy to welcome Yvonne Lee, Product Marketing Manager at SOAR at Palo Alto. Yvonne, thank you so much for joining us today. I know we're all excited for the session, so I'm going to hand the mic on over to you.
Thank you so much. And I just want to say a big thank you to everyone for and the organizers of this event, Actual Tech Media, for inviting us out. I'm, as shared, the Product Marketing Manager of SOAR at Palo Alto Networks. And today, I'm really excited to share with you all one of the products that we support within our Cortex portfolio, and that is SOAR. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Cortex SOAR, I'm excited to have the opportunity to share what we can do to help security operations teams automate their response rates and maximize their time and effectiveness when it comes to security incidents and breach response. Our goal is to help SOC teams get rid of the manual, cluttered, busy work that they can be so focused on, and actually focus on what's really important and perform at the highest potential while maximizing efficiency and productivity, because who doesn't want to be more productive, right? And so I wanted to, in an effort to understand our customers' major pain points, we really wanted to hear what it was that SOC teams were going through on a daily basis. And after listening to security leaders on the daily challenges that their security and SOC teams face, we found three major themes emerge. The first theme is alert fatigue and the rising volume of alerts and not enough people to handle them. The numbers you see here are industry numbers that we found when we conducted over a study of over 300 global participants in our 2020 Forrester SOC Thought Leadership Study, including our own SOC customers and major enterprises. We found that the average organization sees over 10,000 alerts a day, and the vast majority of which are processed manually. Not only are they receiving an influx of alerts, but most security teams are vastly understaffed and therefore don't have enough manpower to handle the amount of alerts coming in, which often leads to a number of other different problems that we won't get into today. But the problem gets worse when you don't have the right noise reduction from the best-in-class prevention tools you have adopted. Repetitive and manual actions across siloed tools take too much analyst time, and from our report, SecOps teams use an average of 10 plus discrete tools, and most of these tools are poorly integrated. So when you have too many alerts and too many tools, it requires far too much manual action, and manual action takes time. And as we know, time is money, especially when it comes to any security breach. Another outcome of too many disjointed point products is the lack of context for investigations. So security analysts need to manually integrate multiple data sources and tools to get the total picture of the attack needed for accurate investigations, and therefore it takes longer to resolve incidents. It often takes an average of 4+ days for SOC teams to understand incidents and investigate threats, and the longer it takes, the more risk you are potentially exposing the organization to. So what is SOAR? SOAR solutions were designed to address and deal with these key challenges that I shared. SOAR, for those who don't know, stands for Security, Orchestration, Automation, and Response. The first component of SOAR is orchestration, which involves controlling and activating the entire security product stack from a central location. SOAR products do this through playbooks, which are task-based workflows that coordinate across people, processes, and technology, and provides you with a logical and organized plan of action for different types of incidents that your SOC teams have to deal with. The second component of SOAR is automation, which is a subset of orchestration. These orchestration playbooks are driven by an automated script, which basically are the ability to find repeatable tasks and executing them at machine speed. This is made possible through the extensible product integrations by being able to easily integrate into any security or non-security tool that you use as part of your incident response process. Where automation stops, there's typically a need for human manual review and further investigation and response. We want to be able to provide these capabilities within the same platform, following for end-to-end case management, whether it be the ability to open, create, edit, or update tickets, the ability to do real-time collaboration with peers in internal and external teams, to be able to quickly resolve more complex incidents, and also the ability to do dashboards, analysis, and reporting post-investigation. And then with that, I'd like to introduce our product, the Palo Alto Networks Cortex XSOAR. We are the industry's most comprehensive security orchestration, automation, and response platform. And as you can see here, we unify automation and orchestration, real-time collaboration, case management, and even a native built-in threat intel management, which is very unique to our XSOAR product. We ingest over 500 plus different out-of-the-box integrations through our third-party tools from our technology partners. And obviously, in this case, we will be talking about more integrations when it comes to phishing and the integrations we have with companies such as MegaCast. We also ingest multiple threat feeds to be able to help SOC teams act on threat intelligence. We have a marketplace within our platform that is easily searchable for pretty much any use case that you could ever encounter with your SOC. Again, these are playbooks that can help drive and do auto remediation on all these different products to close out an incident. Here are some of the common use cases for Cortex XSOAR. Use cases are primarily meant for security operations and incident responses today, but the generic and vendor-neutral nature of our platform results in a very high use case ceiling. So pretty much any API integration can become a use case. But here are some of the most common use cases that we've seen deployed in our customer environments for security operation and incident response. The first one being incident management. The use case we see here is mostly around managing SIM alerts, dead-ups, reducing false positives, and reducing the numbers of alerts that the security team has to touch. We have cloud security. Specifically, Cortex XSOAR can be used to coordinate response across cloud and on-premise infrastructures. For example, one of our customers, Pokemon, used a Cortex XSOAR playbook to block indicators on the Palo Alto Networks firewall on-prem, and also block them using AWS SQS queues and Lambda on the cloud. We also have vulnerability management. Cortex XSOAR can ingest vulnerabilities from scanners such as Qualys using playbooks to automate CVE enrichment and collect custom user comments and diagnosis. Once CVE collection has been automated, you can either trigger manual response or use a tool like Tanium to deliver patches. We also have threat hunting. We talked about threat intel management. So your SOC and security analysts and threat intel analysts can leverage the capabilities of SOAR to take action and gain control over their threat intel feeds for more efficient threat intel management, threat hunting, and investigation. Security operations. Moving back to security operations, this involves use cases like password reset, unusual user logins, SSL, certificate checks, IT onboarding and offboarding, and a lot more. And then what we'll be talking about today is phishing. This is the most common use case we see in POCs and across customer deployments. For obvious reasons, it's very labor intensive and repetitive, so it lends itself well to automation. And the last one is breach response, which is how we help automate any breach responses within the SOAR or in the security space. So as I mentioned today in our session, we'll be going over one of the most common problems that SOCs face, which is phishing enrichment and response, and how we use various integrations to help us, such as the MegaCast integration that you'll see today in our demo. This is actually one of those common use cases we see in customer deployments because of the sheer volume of attacks that SOCs see on a daily basis. So phishing alerts are as much of a problem today as they were decades ago. This is because they are one of the high alert volumes that SOCs see on a daily basis. Phishing attacks account for a large proportion of these alerts because they are frequent, easy to execute, and act as the entry vector for most security attacks. Attackers can leverage automation to launch high-quality phishing attacks with the click of a button. The next thing is that security teams aren't able to follow set processes while responding to phishing alerts. To deal with a phishing incident, your security team has to coordinate across multiple products, whether it's email inboxes, email security gateways, threat intel feeds, firewalls, ticketing, and other tools that you have to use for a phishing response. Each tool has different consoles, data conventions, context. So it makes it really difficult for security teams to fill in the gaps while minimizing errors. And the last reason why phishing response is so hard is that phishing is still an ever-present and growing threat. Spear phishing attacks are sophisticated and sometimes indistinguishable from real emails. And a recent industry study showed that 95% of all attacks on enterprise networks are a result of spear phishing. So here's a before and after view of responding to phishing alerts with Cortex XSOAR. So before a SOAR tool, like Cortex XSOAR, phishing response is a laborious and time-consuming process. Some reasons are the triage is often very manual. Once a phishing email is detected, security analysts have to go through the mailbox or some phishing detection tool to discern what is malicious. The security teams have to open multiple tool consoles, as I mentioned before, often in parallel, to enrich the phishing alert. For example, they check indicator reputation through intel feeds, collect context from the SIM. If there's an attachment, detonate files and malware analysis tools, quarantine endpoint, block on firewall, opening, closing tickets, et cetera, et cetera. And then after deciding whether the email is malicious, the analysts have to then perform manual response actions to raise the severity. And this is all done on multiple siloed tools that analysts have to constantly pivot access between. These actions mentioned are a very high quantity, repetitive, and don't usually require human nuance. So when you integrate automation in the after scenario, you get alerts from the gateway, and these are ingested by Cortex XSOAR. After deploying Cortex XSOAR, the entire phishing enrichment and response process can be coordinated and automated through playbooks. These playbooks codify processes across security products and teams while automating high-quantity actions that usually waste a lot of time. Cortex XSOAR can ingest phishing alerts from email inboxes from integrations such as MegaCast, as you see in the corner there. We can also ingest this from phishing detection tools like fend. Once an alert is ingested, a playbook is triggered and can have a combination of automated or manual actions that users desire. In this example, the playbook can automate indicator reputation checks from threat intel, context collection from SIMs, and malware analysis from sandboxes. The playbooks can have filters and conditions that execute different branches depending on certain values. For example, if the phishing alert is malicious, the playbook can automate ticket creation, setting severity, and sending an email to the analyst to come in and investigate. So how SOAR helps, let's look a little bit more in depth with a breakdown of the process itself. When we get an alert from our integrations such as MegaCast, it triggers our phishing playbook, which can be used to execute repeatable tasks at machine speed, identify false positives, and prime the SOC for standardized phishing response at scale. More importantly, the quick identification and resolution of false positives gives analysts more time to deal with genuine phishing attacks and prevents them from slipping through the cracks. Once the email is ingested, a playbook is triggered and goes through steps to automate enrichment and response. The playbook starts with triaging the emails to parse the relevant data from the email to assign severity and automatically inform the user of email receipt and the potential phishing incident. From there, you can automate the extraction process of common indicators such as IP, URL, and hash from the email. Check to see if any malicious indicators are found through your integration with your threat feeds. After the analysis has been done, the playbook can do multiple actions in parallel, such as running additional validation steps or follow up with the end user. If nothing is found, you can check for false positives by running a check in sandbox, inspect sender domain distance for proximity, check if host name URL is misrepresented, mail user mail the user informing of safety before closing the incident. And then if a malicious activity is found, you can begin a series of steps to respond to the phishing attack, including sending an email to user confirming malice and further investigation, then search for and delete all instances of the phishing email, and then scan the attachment for IOCs and investigate further if needed. So this coordinates and orchestrates across a series of products, including firewalls, your endpoints, and your email. So now for the exciting part, we're going to look at a playbook in action through this demo. So once a playbook is triggered by an incoming email alert or from an email gateway like MegaCast, you can see here that the playbook starts with triaging emails, parsing relevant data such as sender email, info from emails. So this is a common playbook that leverages machine learning to determine phishing type using pre-trained phishing model. It runs several playbooks that perform file name and email address enrichment. Relevant indicators such as IP address, URLs, and domain are extracted and enriched against threat intel from your threat feeds. These sub-playbooks are available out of the box, so you don't have to explicitly add or code them as tasks. Next, it calculates severity and sends a notification to an analyst, which is what you see here, to decide if an auto-response email receipt acknowledgement can or should be sent to the email sender, and if the user should be notified that the email is malicious. This analyst has the option to run this automatically or do it manually using a pre-scripted email response. The analyst can also perform the next remediation steps manually or automatically. This includes running actions to search and delete similar emails, hunt for relevant IOCs, and block these malicious indicators, inform the organizations about threat, and block malicious senders or domains. Lastly, it closes the incident and stops the remediation timer, which is what you've seen here, and it gives you an indication when it is closed. And as you can see, I know it moved pretty quickly, but it really takes only about 1.5 minutes to run this entire playbook, saving a lot of manual steps that are time sinks for your security team. This phishing playbook can be adapted easily to suit your own phishing incident response processes, and all these tasks are modular and can be edited or deleted using our drag and drop visual editor to allow you to customize it to your specific processes. We really strive for a codeless interface because we have a lot of these automation scripts and thousands of scripts that you can then leverage and pull into the playbook as needed. So there's a lot of out-of-the-box playbooks, but then there's also a lot of customization that is afforded through the system as well. So hopefully, I know it was a quick presentation, but I hope you were able to get a taste of what automation can do in regards to a simple yet very common use case example, in this case, phishing. We got to deep dive into a case, but there are a lot of opportunities within Cortex. Cortex's exclusive and extensive playbooks, as well as use cases to be explored. So when we speak to our customers about their Cortex Explored deployments, these are the 3 key benefits that keep coming up from our customers. The number one thing we see is reduced alerts from 10,000 to 500. So global software company, we have a customer who is a global software company that had security products generating 10,000 alerts a day that was coming in, causing a lot of alert fatigue for their 5 SOC analysts. Detecting false positives and duplicates, use Cortex XOR playbooks to highlight common artifacts and indicators across incidents. They were able to reduce these alerts by a staggering 95%. The second thing that we've seen is faster response times. For the financial services organization, they were able to double the speed at which they processed incoming phishing incidents, which resulted in a net reduction of MTTR, medium time to response, from days to merely minutes. And the last thing we see is efficient security operations. And We had an energy utilities customer that used Cortex XSOAR to dedupe SIEM alerts and also generate customized reports for each team. This replaced a lot of manual work, and as a result, they were able to gain back time savings across their teams that added up to 1 full-time employee. So in summary, key benefits you should expect from Cortex XSOAR are less alerts for your team that your team has to touch, faster MTTR, and a more efficient process overall, which nets out to a lot less time in the SOC. Giving back more time to your analyst team, so focus on more important needs, as well as better work-life balance. And this, as well as, obviously increasing and speeding up and scaling your incident response overall. So for those of you who are more interested in learning about the different capabilities and use cases that XSOAR has, we did share a white paper with all of the different use cases that we provide that gives the top security orchestration use cases that our current customers are deploying above and beyond clearly what we went over today. If you're not familiar with SOAR and want to learn more, we do have a SOAR's Dummies Guide that delivers a deeper dive into the whole SOAR landscape and what it's all about. We also have Gartner's take on SOAR and the key requirements for a SOAR platform. So it outlines things that you should look for as you're shopping for a SOAR platform, and obviously considering Cortex XSOAR. And if you're interested in taking a test drive of the platform itself, we do have a free community edition that is fully functional Cortex XSOAR platform that's available for 30 days, where you can actually take a look at all the playbooks we offer and content packs available and test it out for yourself. And with that, I want to say thank you for your time. It's been, I know, quick, but very informative. I hope it's been a quick and very informative, session for you. And at this time, I'm open to taking some questions.
Yeah, thank you, Yvonne. That was a fascinating presentation, and I'm so happy that you could stick around with us to answer some of the questions. We've had a lot of great questions coming in. People are very, very engaged. I'm going to put up the poll question right now that we have here, wondering, what more information you'd like to get from Palo Alto. And then before we move away at the end of the Q&A here, I will go back to that resources slide that Yvonne just had up in case anyone missed any of the links there. Also, again, I'm going to keep just a broken record on this. Check that handouts tab because there is a link there that you can go and explore around with Palo Alto a little bit as well. But Yvonne, are you ready to jump into some questions from our audience?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, let's do this. Right at the end, you were kind of chatting about some of the key benefits. We had a question here about XSOAR and sort of the uniques. What is going to make XSOAR stand out compared to other SOAR products in the market?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as I mentioned before, SOAR is a very automated, it's all about automation, right? And one of the things that helps us with our automation are all the integrations that we have. So with XSOAR, because of the such the high amount of integrations that we have with our partners, as well as the playbooks that we have more, I believe more than 700 different playbooks and content packs, making it very easy for our users to actually implement into their current SOC system. So we make it really easy for our customers, but one of the things that makes us actually really unique is our threat intel management integration. So our TIM functionality is something that isn't found within other SOAR products. So because of that, we're able to help our SOC teams not just be reactive, but be very proactive in defending against security threats. So that's, I would say, the number one thing that makes XSOAR so different is, for one, the sheer amount of integrations and playbooks that we have, but then for, the biggest call out, I would say, is our TIM integration.
Love that. How does XSOAR make the life of a SOC IR team better?
As I mentioned before, it's just really about efficiency. When we look at a SOC, most SOC teams are highly understaffed. So we know the sheer amount of attacks and threats and kind of incidences coupled with an understaffed team can result in a lot of, one, low morale, just because of the fact that, you're overworking, you're working, 16-hour days sometimes, or, and it's hard for our SOC teams to have that work-life balance. So that's really what we're bringing is, one, automation to help with, reducing all that manual stuff and reducing the sheer amount and helping our SOC teams be more efficient. But then also, I would say, just to allow our security analysts to take that time that they do have to not just work less, but work smarter and work on things that actually matter, and not have, things fall through the cracks because of alert fatigue or, just because of an oversight of some sort. So I think overall it's efficiency, productivity, and really just giving back the SOC some sort of work-life balance and productivity.
Yeah, I think we can all relate to that desire.
Yeah.
This actually maybe kind of dovetails onto that. And, you just mentioned the productivity and efficiency, but someone was wondering about the ROI of investing in XSOAR. And I don't know if those are if that's the answer, or if there's something else you want to add to that.
Yeah. Well, obviously it's like work smarter, not harder, right? I think that is really the key message that we want to bring is SOAR helps you work smarter, not harder. But the ROI of that is obviously time spent, is your time for one. But then we also even have an ROI tool that if you are interested in that you could access that actually translates the time to dollars saved. So as I mentioned in one of the last slides, we saw that with all the time saved, it was the equivalent of one full-time employee. So that could be for a company, if you're saving time for 1 to 3, you're saving 1 to 3 full-time employees. That's, if you look at it financially, it's a huge savings for the company. But then it's also a huge savings in terms of time for the analysts, right? And time, as we all know, is money. So we want to just be able to invest our time in things that matter, not, all the manual work.
Yeah, I like that. Defining that or starting to put that in as a salary makes that feel very real and tangible. How does XSOAR work with other Cortex products like XDR, Extended Detection and Response, and Expanse?
Yeah. So actually Cortex, all of our Cortex products work really beautifully together. One of the, I guess, most recent examples that I can give is for one of our newest products, Expanse. Expanse is actually a product that is able to help give alerts and kind of assess the environment from the outside in. So it's really looking at all the different alerts and threats and data that is gathered within the industry and brings it to the customer, which is, as you can tell, obviously great, right? But when you have too many alerts, right, you get all this data dumped from our Expanse product. How do you go about sorting it, right? And how do you go about understanding what data is relevant? So this is where a really great opportunity for automation comes in, where if you were to couple Expanse and the automation capabilities of XSOAR, you can actually be able to use XSOAR to sort through all of that data and see what data is relevant for your team and analysts to understand. And with our threat intel capability, then create a plan to protect yourself from these external threats. So that's just one example of how XSOAR and Expanse works together, but in a lot of ways, all of our products work really tangibly hand in hand across all 3 product lines.
Yeah, and actually I wonder, to sort of illustrate that, we had a question here about, you had mentioned a few of the sort of standard use cases, but are there any other ways that organizations have used XSOAR that you can kind of illustrate for us today?
Yeah. So one of our users, or one of our customers actually, uses the automation feature for a lot of their onboarding. So it's not technically so much of the the security space, but it's just like for onboarding their clients and kind of using that automation feature to help with different SOPs for their processes. And this is actually helping with, making sure that when you're onboarding a customer, or not a customer, and a new employee or offboarding, that certain steps aren't missed. And so I think with XSOAR, even though it is a product for, helping with threats and detecting threats, it can also be used for your overall processes, your everyday processes in other departments too, to make sure that important steps are not missed, and that, making sure that everything can be automated and scalable for the company. So that's just one way. It's like, HR and onboarding and offboarding a employee, but really just an overall kind of wherever automation is applicable, XSOAR can kind of fill in those gaps. And the great thing is too, is because of the customization that XSOAR offers, you can actually really, change the system to whatever you need, whatever use cases that you might want to use it for. And then the machine learning aspect of XSOAR really helps to make this, the more data it gathers, the smarter it gets. So there's a lot of different ways that you can utilize XSOAR outside of just security.
I love that. Those are great examples, and I'm actually just going to pull back here to, as I mentioned, the additional resources. Last chance to kind of grab any of those links. Well, not last chance. You can also get a lot of this information on the Palo Alto website, so do check that out, and you can find that link in our handouts tab. But feel free to grab any of these links and download and share. While folks are kind of looking through these resources, Yvonne, is there any next steps that you would recommend to somebody who wants to get started with Palo Alto?
Yeah, if you are interested in getting started with Palo Alto, definitely reach out to myself or, take advantage of these resources. We do have an event coming up called Symphony that goes over all of our products if you're interested in learning more about, the SOAR space, but then also what our other products have to offer. And that's coming up, and you can find that information on our main website. But overall, I just want to take the time to thank you all for joining today. And if there's anything that I can help, I'll definitely be staying on to help answer any more questions that might be coming through the feed. But yeah, if there's anything anyone needs, you can always feel free to reach out to myself or find more information on our website, and definitely check out Symphony. It's going to be an event in May, so it's coming up. Definitely, if you're interested in learning more about that space.
I love that. Yeah, I think we're starting to see a lot of these events kind of coming up in the next few months, and returning to some of the in-person things, and just a lot of really exciting information. There were some questions coming in at the start about upcoming events and where people could get more info, so that's a great place to start. So check out Symphony. I'm loving this orchestra theme we have going on today. Well, thank you, Yvonne, for being here. I really appreciate your presentation and for taking the time to answer some questions for our audience here.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to share.
All right, and I do see that there's a few questions still coming in. As Yvonne mentioned, she will be here to kind of chat, and the team will follow up with you as well. So if your question did not get read out today, you will hear from Palo Alto. If you're looking for another great way to connect, get some info, as I mentioned, check out that handouts tab in the audience console. And we are going to jump ahead in the slides here. Oh, look at that. It's time for another prize giveaway. This is our very last. So we have a $500 Amazon gift card plus another grand prize giveaway. And since, again, feeling a bit crazy, I might just give away 2 of them. Okay, our last winner of a $500 Amazon gift card today is Elena King from Washington, D.C. Elena King from Washington, D.C. has won a $500 Amazon gift card. And our next grand prize winner, that's an Apple M1 24-inch iMac, color of your choice, goes to Florence Claros of California. So Florence Claros, you are winning a grand prize Apple M1 24-inch iMac. I have said that a lot today. Okay, guys, and I said there would be one more, and there is. We have one more. Perfect prizes poised personally for you. Oh, one last alliteration to go out on. All right, so our very last winner of a grand prize, that's an Apple M1 24-inch iMac, goes to Brittany Cox of Oklahoma. That's Brittany Cox of Oklahoma. So I'm going to just go through that list. There was a request to go through it all. We have a gift card going to Zhang Feng of Texas, a grand prize going to Andrew Field of Ohio. We have another gift card going to Sarah Redman of Indiana, a grand prize going to Tim Ralston of Arizona, as well as Chad Elliott of Massachusetts. A gift card going to Elena King in Washington, and then two more grand prizes going to Florence Claros in California and Brittany Cox in Oklahoma. So congrats to all our lucky winners today. And don't forget about the best question from each session. We will be in touch after the event with all of you. And I've got one more, I love this, alliteration I got to share with you. Alex Bernstein, simply sensational, scrumptious sessions. Gold stars for Alex Bernstein, crushing the alliteration today. Love that. Well, to all of you, before you head out, make sure that you check out the Actual Tech Media ransomware guide in the handouts tab. You can find everything you need to know about ransomware, how to understand, prevent, and recover. That's a clickable link right there on the screen, so visit ransomware.org for more information. Now, if you are here in the event today and you want to get involved, you want to chat with us about presenting on a future EcoCast or MegaCast event, we would love to hear from you. So reach out via email at connect@actualtechmedia.com. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank all of our speakers from Rapid7, Access Security, and Palo Alto for making this event possible. And a very special thank you to all of you who attended and asked some great questions, participated in our alliterations, posted acronyms. I hope you have all learned some interesting and helpful things today about SecOps, some new strategies to utilize SSE, SIEM, and SOAR tools in your organization. I know I've learned a ton. I love chatting with our fascinating speakers and getting to play some fun literary games and digging into acronyms with all of you here today. Now, I hope to see you all again next week for our MegaCast on Wednesday, April 28th, starting at noon Eastern Time. That's 9 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard. We will be exploring streamlining, securing, and protecting cloud IT and business operations. We all know how vital that is, so mark your calendars now. I hope to chat with you all again soon, and until then, have an absolutely beautiful, bountiful ballyhoo of a day. Thanks all.